That's far from about 70 million people with complete first and second doses against the virus. The government has already decentralized the vaccination system to malls, fast food chains, and local government facilities to protect more people against the virus and make inoculation more accessible to the public. Stanley Gaete, CNN Philippines.
The Health Department says it is holding discussions on improving the COVID-19 vaccination drive. Health Undersecretary Mirna Kabutahe says these will be in areas where vaccination rates remain low. Kabutahe adds sessions were already done in Palawan and Masbate and are ongoing in Socsadjen. Quezon Province and Negros are scheduled to hold their sessions next week. The Duterte administration is now working to turn over pandemic-related reports to the team of President-elect Bongbong Marcos. No formal talks yet between the outgoing and incoming administrations, but Presidential Advisor for COVID-19 response Vince Dizon says they are preparing documents that could be of use to the new officials.
Ang DOH ang magiging lead agency, no, para sa transition ng COVID response at nasa bagong administrasyon kung ano ang gagawin nilang approach. Ang gagawin ng namin ngayon ay hinahanda namin at dino-document natin lahat ng ating mga best practices, lahat ng magagandang ginawa, lahat ng mga lessons, lahat ng mga challenges, at yan ay ita-transition natin sa bagong administrasyon.
When asked if he will still be part of the COVID-19 response, Dizon said it would depend on the Marcos administration. Marcos has yet to name his health secretary or state if he will retain the National Task Force against COVID-19. Outgoing Bangko Sentral Governor Benjamin Diokno says he is already studying the Finance Department's proposal to increase taxes and introduce reforms to help the incoming Marcos administration settle loans. Diokno has accepted President-elect Bongbong Marcos's offer to become Finance Secretary.
I'm actually looking at this proposed fiscal consolidation package, and some are good, some may have to be revised. But to me, I think we should focus on the number one, on the tax administration. Number two, focus on growing the economy. You know, when you grow the economy, you generate more revenues because revenues are elastic to the growth of the economy.
Other members of Marcos's economic team are Monetary Board member and former Socio-Economic Planning Chief Felipe Medalla, who will replace Diokno at the Bangko Sentral, and Fred Pascual, who is set to be the next Trade and Industry Secretary. Pascual is the former president of the University of the Philippines and now president of the Management Association of the Philippines. President-elect Marcos takes a tougher tone on Manila's rights in the West Philippine Sea. He vowed to speak to China about the matter with a firm voice. How will he be similar or different from President Duterte, who has warmed up to China and kept a distance from the U.S.? Tristan Adalo filed this report.
A delicate balancing act between the Philippines and two global powers, China and the United States. Beijing and Washington affirmed their commitment to strengthen diplomatic ties with Manila under a Marcos presidency. But for President-elect Bongbong Marcos, it's time to talk to China with a firm voice when it comes to the West Philippine Sea and the 2016 arbitral ruling.
Considering in the West Philippine Sea that there have been these conflicts, we will not allow a single square, and we even make it smaller, a single square millimeter of our maritime, coastal, and up to our 200 kilometers rights to be trampled upon.
Marcos' statement is much stronger than his remarks during a televised debate in February where he vowed to pursue talks with China and find an agreement in solving the maritime conflict. A professor and president of Philippine Association for Chinese Studies sees similarities between the approach of Marcos and President Rodrigo Duterte's independent foreign policy.
Yes, there will be a lot of continuities in terms on how to approach China. But President-elect Marcos will promote his own brand of dealing with China. So they will open many channels of communication for pragmatic cooperation. They will explore avenues where both countries will cooperate in order to achieve mutual benefits in the West Philippine Sea.
Another foreign relations expert weighs in on Marcos's pronouncements. He says the president-elect should veer away from vague messaging and lay down his plans as chief architect of foreign policy.
Marcos Jr. should play his cards well in engaging with China and the United States. His actions must be erudite and strategic at the same time. We're not seeing that it should be a carbon copy of what President Duterte has done so far. We wanted to see the specific actions on how to implement the independent foreign policy.
Former Foreign Affairs Secretary Albert Del Rosario says he is grateful for Marcos's uncompromising stand on the 2016 arbitral ruling. Del Rosario, who was DFA Secretary under the Aquino administration, lauds Marcos for saying that the 2016 arbitral ruling is not only a claim but also a right. Del Rosario says that while Marcos is off to a good start in dealing with the West Philippine Sea dispute, he says that Marcos should continue raising the arbitral ruling in the United Nations General Assembly, consolidate the support of allied nations, and make sure that we will have a credible defense system to further protect our territory. Tristan Udalo, CNN Philippines.
Former Comelec Commissioner Rowena Guanzon faces a graft complaint over the supposed premature disclosure of her vote in the disqualification case against then-candidate Bongbong Marcos. The Citizens Crime Watch group, led by lawyer Ferdinand Topacio, filed the complaint before the Office of the Ombudsman. The group says Guanzon violated the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act for revealing her vote ahead of the Comelec First Division and identifying Commissioner Amy Ferolino as the author of the resolution. Guanzon accuses Topacio of holding a grudge against her as she earlier sued him for unjust vexation. Topacio denies filing the complaint for personal reasons. Straight ahead on Newsnight, the satellite internet service firm of Elon Musk is officially entering the country. And K-pop fans are in for a treat with 4 K-pop acts on one stage this weekend. Details right here on CNN Philippines.
SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao, para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay. SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao, para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay.
RPN DXKT 1071 sa dial sa inyong mga radyo.
Welcome back to Newsnight. Bombings rocked two areas in central Mindanao. The police have formed a special investigation task group for the blast that injured one person in South Cotabato, while authorities confirmed that the incident was almost simultaneous with another bomb attack in Sultan Kudarat. As George Cahilas tells us, the military sees an ISIS-linked group as behind the bombings.
A bus explosion caught on CCTV rocked Coronadal City, South Cotabato on Thursday noon, injuring one person and causing fear among its residents. Initial report says the bomb was inside an unattended bag left on the bus. Some 30 kilometers away from Coronadal blast site, another explosion occurred almost simultaneously in Tacurong City.
Synchronized, cellphone initiated. Sabay-sabay, 12:30 pareho.
The military identified the members of Daule Islamia as the perpetrators of the bombings. Their possible motives: extortion and diversionary tactic. Authorities have been conducting operations against the group that killed some of its members and injuring its leader, Abu Turaife.
Nagkaroon tayo ng aerial bombing, sir, somewhere in Maguindanao. 2 to 3 days ago, which meron silang na-incurred na mga casualties to include yung leadership nila. They are diverting our focused military operation through this action para inisip nila na mag-shift tayo ng focus.
While the Daule Islamia in Central Mindanao is believed to be losing membership, Philippine Institute for Peace, Violence and Terrorism Research Chairperson Romel Banlawi says the group is still capable of launching violent attacks.
Mainam na nga na ganyan dahil hindi nagkaroon ng mass casualties yung kanilang violent activities, pero hindi ibig sabihin ay magiging kampante na tayo, magpatuloy tayo sa pagmamatyak sa kanilang galaw dahil meron pa rin silang intention talaga na ma-revitalize yung kanilang grupo. Sa ngayon, they are totally, tremendously down, but they are not yet totally out.
Authorities are still identifying the suspects behind the attacks. They vowed to ensure that a similar or more destructive episode won't happen again in the area. George Cahilas, CNN Philippines.
Police are investigating the reported bomb threats in 4 areas in Cebu City. Circulating text messages reached government employees Thursday that bombs were planted at City Hall, the Hall of Justice, and the North Reclamation Area, Carbona Public Market, and along the Cebu-Cordova Link Expressway. Authorities did not find any bombs in these areas. The bomb scare happened about the same time explosions were reported in Mindanao. Police say they are coordinating with the Anti-Cybercrime Unit to find out who was behind the text messages. Acting Cebu City Mayor Don Ontiveros called for a meeting with police station commanders and ordered strict monitoring of people arriving from other provinces. In other news, the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee's report on the Farmally controversy appears to be in limbo. Chairman Richard Gordon says it still lacks 2 signatures from members. That has been the case since February. Only 7 regular members have signed the report when it needs the majority or 9 members to send it to the plenary for approval. In a text message to CNN Philippines, Gordon said he will try to sponsor it at the plenary on Monday. When asked if he's expecting 2 other colleagues to sign the report, Gordon said, quote, "Hope for the best," unquote. After 18 committee hearings, Gordon recommends charges against President Duterte, Health Secretary Francisco Duque, and other government officials and personalities over anomalies in supply deals cornered by Farmally Pharmaceutical at the height of the pandemic. The report is now in limbo with only 3 session days left in the 18th Congress. Senate President Tito Soto adds 2 Farmally executives detained at the Pasay City Jail are also set to be released after session adjourns on June 3rd. News overseas now. The small community of Uvalde in the U.S. state of Texas is still suffering from the deadly shooting that took away over a dozen lives. Chris Nguyen reports authorities are trying to determine why no one confronted the gunman before he entered the scene.
This is the agony of parents waiting outside of Robb Elementary, pleading for police to go inside as authorities say a gunman barricaded himself inside of the school Tuesday.
He walked in unobstructed initially. So from the grandmother's house to the bar ditch to the school, into the school, he was not confronted by anybody.
Inside, nearly an hour of sheer terror as students and staff hid.
We were all hiding behind a stage in the cafeteria when it happened.
The gunman shot and killed 19 students and 2 teachers in a single 4th grade class. Among the victims, 10-year-old Amarie Jo Garza, whose father said she was trying to call for help when she was shot.
I just want people to know that she just died trying to save her classmates. She just wanted to save everyone.
Many questions remain about how this man was able to get inside the school and the red flags that could have been raised prior to the shooting, including text messages to a teenage girl where he writes, "I'm a go shoot up a elementary school right now."
Why did he do this? Who is this man? The suspect. We're gonna find out.
Meanwhile, outside the school, a growing memorial as Uvalde tries to heal from the pain.
CNN's Chris Nguyen there reporting. New COVID-19 cases and deaths are declining in most parts of the world. The World Health Organization reports weekly infections in various regions have continued to fall since the peak in January. It says only the Americas and the Western Pacific are seeing an increase in cases. Aside from COVID-19, the United States is monitoring more monkeypox infections. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control has identified 9 new cases in 7 states. All cases are within men who had sex with other men. The CDC says it is still uncertain if the outbreak will become a major concern in the U.S.
If monkeypox circulates widely here in the United States, would we worry that it could become endemic here, meaning that it would circulate at low levels among people, or in zoonotic, meaning that could there be a wildlife or animal reservoir that could occasionally affect people? I think we're in the very early days of our investigations. I think that we are working hard to identify cases, and we don't yet know how many there might be. We're working hard to contain the cases that are happening so they don't spread onward. So I think it's a little too early to tell.
Here at home, health officials are conducting internal talks for the possible acquisition of antivirals. They're also exploring sources of monkeypox vaccines. The satellite internet service firm of American tech billionaire Elon Musk is officially entering the country. The National Telecommunications Commission has approved the registration of Starlink Internet Services Philippines, a subsidiary of SpaceX. Starlink can now build and operate broadband facilities to offer internet services. Regulators issued the license just 30 minutes after Starlink submitted its application. The Philippines will be the first Southeast Asian country where Starlink would offer its services with download speeds of 100 to 200 megabits per second. More stories ahead. An NBA team has secured a ticket to the finals, and fans will get to see some of their favorite K-pop idols here in Manila very soon. Stay tuned to CNN Philippines. You're watching Newsnight on CNN. Philippines finals bound in the NBA for the 6th time in the last 8 seasons are the Golden State Warriors. Golden State beat the Dallas Mavericks in Game 5, 120-110. Klay Thompson scored 32 points for the Warriors. Stephen Curry went home with another victory, taking the first Magic Johnson Western Conference Finals MVP award. To face the Warriors for the championship are either the Boston Celtics or the Miami Heat. The Celtics lead the Eastern Conference Finals 3-2. The 6th match is set tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Philippine time. K-pop news now. BTS is going from the stage to the White House. The award-winning group will meet with U.S. President Joe Biden next Tuesday to address anti-Asian discrimination and discuss Asian representation. President Biden says he's committed to change, signing into law last May an act giving police resources to investigate hate crimes. For fans of 17, the boy group dropped a new music video and album today. Face the Sun, the K-pop artist's 4th record, is out. And so is the video for its upbeat title track, Hot. Let's take a look. Face the Sun is made up of 9 tracks, including the group's first English single, Darling. More hyped up for this weekend than anyone else are fans of NCT Dream, Shani's Key, Wehai, and Alice, Begin Again. K-pop edition 2022 is happening this Sunday, 5 p.m. at the Araneta Coliseum. This is the first K-pop concert in the country since the pandemic. Only 5 members of NCT Dream will grace the stage because Mark and Hae-chan have activities in Japan. The 7-piece group is also the new face of local clothing brand Pen Shop. NCT Dream has joined fellow K-pop stars like Lisa of Blackpink and Cha Eun-woo of Astro as the company's ambassadors. And that is it for now. Join me again on news.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Pio Ontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
RPN DXKT 1071 sa dial sa inyong mga radyo.
SMC